Good afternoon. My name is Lauren Armstrong, and I am the Assistant Director of the Office of Grants and Contracts in the University of Virginia's School of Medicine. We are pleased to provide this learning shot about the upcoming changes to the NIH Biosketch and other support format pages through a partnership with the Integrated Translational Health Research Institute of Virginia, also known as iThrive. With the issuance of notices OD-21-073 and OD-21-110, NIH has implemented significant changes to both the Biosketch and other support format pages. These changes are effective May 25th, 2021, and will be fully required as of January 25th, 2022. After that date, submission of forms that do not adhere to the updated guidance could result in the withdrawal of an application from funding consideration or delays in funding decisions or implementation. The graphic on this slide highlights the most significant changes for each document. We will discuss each of these changes in detail momentarily, but it is important to note that these updates reflect a renewed focus from NIH and other federal agencies on transparency and disclosure of all of an investigator's research-related activities, whether they occur at the investigator's home institution or the applicant institution of a particular proposal, foreign or domestic sites, or are directly, indirectly, or unrelated to a particular grant application. We will begin with the changes to the Biosketch. The major change that we see with this document is the elimination of Section D, research support, from the non-fellowship format. Accordingly, updated guidance for Section A, which is the personal statement, now includes the language highlighted in orange, which requires inclusion of ongoing and completed research projects from the past 3 years that you wish to draw attention to. This information will replace the research support previously included in Section D and should display projects that highlight your expertise, skills, accomplishments, and ability to complete the work outlined in the subject proposal. While not a change from the previous format, we want to also reinforce that the personal statement in Section A should be customized for each application that you are submitting. This is your chance to really underscore your unique experience and qualifications. To this end, you may include up to 4 publications or research products that draw attention to your prior productivity. Please remember that the use of hyperlinks and URLs is not allowed, so full citation information must be included in the text of the personal statement. Next, we will review the changes to Section B, which is updated to include scientific appointments within the previous header of positions and honors. The instructions for this section state to list in reverse chronological order all positions and scientific appointments, both domestic and foreign, including affiliations with foreign entities or governments. This includes titled academic, professional, or institutional appointments, whether or not remuneration is received, and whether full-time, part-time, or voluntary, including adjunct, visiting, or honorary. Importantly, NIH now requires the inclusion of voluntary, unpaid, or adjunct appointments in the Biosketch document, whereas this section was previously assumed to require only paid or official professional positions. In addition to the highlighted information, Section B should also include scholarships, traineeships, fellowships, development awards, clinical licensures, and specialty board certifications as applicable. Section C of the Biosketch is unchanged from previous versions. This section should include up to 5 of your most significant contributions to science, with up to 4 related publications or research products cited for each contribution. Research products can include audio or video products, conference proceedings such as meeting abstracts, posters, or other presentations, patents, data and research materials, databases, educational aids or curricula, instruments or equipment, models, protocols, and software or netware. Again, the use of hyperlinks or URLs is not allowed for these products, but you may wish to include a single URL to your full list of published work. This URL must be from a federal government website, such as the My Bibliography tool provided by the National Center for Biotechnology Information, or NCBI. NCBI provides another tool known as Science CV, which is a researcher profile system for all individuals who apply for, receive, or are associated with research investments from federal agencies. This very convenient tool allows investigators to create and maintain multiple Biosketch versions online, make them available to collaborators, and import information from their ERA Commons profile to populate their Biosketch. We encourage you to check out and utilize this tool if you haven't already at ncbi.nlm.nih.gov/sciencecv. The templates there have been updated for the May 25th changes, and investigators with an existing Science CV Biosketch can transfer their information to the new format immediately. Now we will review the changes to the other support document. As defined in NOT-OD-21-073, other support includes all resources made available to a researcher in support of and/or related to all of their research endeavors, regardless of whether or not they have monetary value and regardless of whether they are based at the institution the researcher identifies for the current grant. Specifically, investigators are required to report all financial support for laboratory personnel and provision of high-value materials that are not freely available, such as biologics, chemicals, model systems, and technologies. Core facilities, shared equipment, and other resources made broadly available to other researchers, faculty, or staff are not required to be reported as other support, but should be listed within the facilities and resources or equipment documents as they relate to specific proposals. Other categories of reportable activities include resources and funds available from outside organizations, including foreign institutions, such as startup packages and funds administered by outside entities supporting students, postdocs, and mentees who are performing research in support of an investigator's research endeavors. Many faculty members also engage in paid and unpaid outside consulting activity. To satisfy NIH's compliance requirements, consulting agreements only need to be reported as other support if they include research as part of the consulting activity. Consulting or professional arrangements that do not involve research do not need to be reported. In the updated other support format, NIH has also separated in-kind contributions as a reportable category of support. This includes lab space, materials, staff, and travel or living expenses made available to an investigator in support of or related to their research efforts as part of an unpaid appointment at another institution. Domestic research collaborations that directly benefit a researcher's research endeavors, and resources with no associated time commitment. It is important to note that an estimated dollar value and/or time commitment must be provided for these resources. While either time or dollars can be valued at zero, they cannot both be zero. Notably, other support does not include training awards, prizes, or gifts, which are provided with no expectation of time, services, specific research activities or outputs, or money. Another important change to the other support reporting is the requirement to submit as supporting documentation copies of contracts, grants, or any other agreement specific to a senior key person's foreign appointments and/or employment with a foreign institution. This requirement is specific to senior key personnel, so personal service contracts or other agreements for lab staff or other research team members are not required to be submitted as supporting documentation. If these documents are not readily attainable in English, machine-generated translations from tools such as Google Translate must be provided. Additionally, if an institution becomes aware that an investigator failed to report other support information as part of a standard required process, such as just-in-time or RPPR submission, the institution is required to immediately disclose updated other support information to the funding agency. We have created a quick reference guide of the do's and don'ts for other support reporting, which is available on the Office of Grants and Contracts website. We also suggest that you familiarize yourself with NIH's FAQ page, which contains additional information, specific scenarios, and examples. NIH plans to add a template for other support reporting to the Science CV tool in early fiscal year 2022. Until that time, templates and guides for the other support requirements are available on NIH's website. Thank you for your attention, and please feel free to reach out to me or your local grant administrator with additional questions at any time.